It's the most wonderful time of the year. Yes, the holidays, but better yet, Syracuse men's basketball is playing December hoops. The Orange opened ACC play against the Who's and hosted the Big Red to start this month. How's the squad looking?
And from the hardwood to SU's football program, a new head coach is here in the 315. The hiring is official. Fran Brown made the move from Georgia to the Hill, and we'll break down what he had to say in his first public appearance with the Block S logo.
And there might be a top 25 women's basketball team on Irving Ave. Syracuse hosted Alabama before the calendar turned. Is this the best team since SU's 2016 title game appearance? We've got hoops, hockey, hot takes, and holiday cheer on the Bench, which starts right now. Welcome inside the CitrusTV studio for the final edition of On the Bench this semester with Ben Spector. I'm Joe Puccio. Ben, it was just an ordinary week on the Hill, so let's recap all the news with our headlines of the week. Yeah, I'm kidding. It was anything but an ordinary week in Syracuse athletics because on Monday, SU football introduced Fran Brown as the program's 31st head coach. The 40-year-old Camden, New Jersey native spent the last 2 seasons as Georgia's defensive backs coach, and he's got a ring to show for it. Citrus TV's Peter Elliott breaks down the #1 recruiter in the land who is taking his talents to the Salt City.
When new Syracuse football head coach Fran Brown took to the podium at his introductory press conference, he was handed a jersey by athletic director John Wildhack. The number, 44. The nameplate, it said Brown. Remind you of anyone? How about Jim Brown, the legendary Orangeman, who took the program to new heights starting in 1953. We'll flash forward now to 2023. There's a new Brown in town who wants to take the program back to the glory days. Fran Brown saying that he wants to be here for life.
Because you're going to get my heart. You're going to get every bit of me that you can get for the entire time I'm here. Now listen, guys, like I told you earlier, I'm from Camden. So every coach get up here and say, this is home, I'm never going nowhere, and then 3 years later, he trying to get a new job or a new contract. Guys, I come from welfare, baby. I'm good. I don't got to have that family first card no more. I'm here for life. I promise you that. I will bust my butt to be the coach. I watched other teams in the ACC a few years ago win national championships here, so it's going to happen here.
The last few days have been a whirlwind for Brown. On Saturday, he was coaching the defensive backs in the University of Georgia's loss to Alabama in the SEC championship. On Sunday, he flew into Syracuse, and later that night, he was at the Dome at the New York State Football Championships. And Monday was his introductory press conference, and he plans to hit the recruiting trail later tonight.
A new era of Syracuse football begins today.
Brown is in town, and Orange fans are hoping the wins will abound. Reporting for Citrus TV, I'm Peter Elliott.
Brown has already started multiple official visits for Cuse football this weekend. And staying with the program, look, Brown is the future, and it's important to focus on the immediate present. Syracuse still has some football to play in 2023. Earlier this week, SU announced that it will take on the University of South Florida in the Boca Raton Bowl. This marks the first time a team from the Power 5 is represented in this matchup. And the last time these two sides went head-to-head, you have to go back to 2016, when USF won 45-20. Now, this year, both sides finished 6-6, just barely becoming bowl eligible. The Orange are in a bowl game for the second consecutive season, and that's for the first time in a decade, and can get a postseason victory for the first time since 2018. You look at your screen here, these are teams that are both in the middle of their respective conferences, but Joe, Syracuse ended the regular season on a high note against Wake Forest.
Yeah, that's right, for Syracuse just to get into this bowl game, but Ben, I see those 2 logos on the TV. It reminds me of Big East football. We've got an old Big East rivalry between South Florida and Syracuse coming up just before Christmas. A little Christmas present for all the Central New York fans out there. Now, with NIL signing day just a few weeks away, prospects are adding Syracuse football to their lists, obviously because of Fran Brown, but it could be because of the reported coaching staff that will join Brown next season. Take a look here at the potential staff for Syracuse football. On Monday, multiple reports state that Texas A&M interim head coach Elijah Robinson will be SU's defensive coordinator. Robinson is the 10th best recruiter, according to 247 Sports. Colorado's Nick Williams will coach the D-line, and Delaware State's Devin Reed will help the receivers. It's important to note that none of these hires have been confirmed by Syracuse athletics. However, current interim head coach Nunzio Campanelli will stay on the staff, according to Syracuse.com.
A lot changing with the football program. Bright days ahead for SU, but shifting gears to the hardwood, Syracuse put out a date to induct Dave Bing into the Ring of Honor. January 27th, 2024. Bing played at Syracuse from 1963 to 1966 and never averaged fewer than 20 points per game. After Bing's time on the Hill, the guard moved on to the NBA. The Detroit Pistons spent the second overall pick on the guard, and he went on to win Rookie of the Year in 1967. Bing went on to spend the first 9 years of his career with the Pistons, and after 12 seasons in the association, the 8-time All-Star was elected as mayor of Detroit. Bing was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 1990 and adds another honor in January when he is inducted into the Ring of Honor in the Dome.
You know, Bing and Boeheim were roommates. It's good to see that they're roommates once again on the Ring of Honor. Let's go back to football. With all the buzz surrounding this coaching staff, there's been some significant developments in the roster. Syracuse defensive lineman Leon Lowry committed to Wisconsin on Monday, but then not even 24 hours later, Lowry decommitted from UW. Lowry has posted on X that he's received offers from Purdue and Texas Tech, where former Cuse defensive lineman Steve Linton was a standout this season. Leon Lowry has said that he will be keeping his recruitment private for the time being, but make sure to follow us at CitrusTV Sports on X for the latest surrounding Lowry in the portal.
Now to women's hoops we go. This is an SU women's basketball team on a tear. Syracuse is receiving votes to be ranked, and it's only December. Now, you can point to guards Deaja Fair, Elena Rice, or even Georgia Woolley as reasons for such great success, but you'd be hard-pressed to not mention freshman Alyssa Latham. Against Alabama last week, the freshman scored a team-high 23 points and grabbed 12 rebounds en route to ACC Freshman of the Week honors. Latham has been on a roll for the Cuse early. The Illinois native has 3 double-doubles this season, averages just over 10 points per game, and leads the team in rebounding. Latham's presence around and in the paint has been crucial for SU.
So Syracuse women's basketball having a solid start to the season. And as for the men's team, they entered the month of December with 2 losses to top 15 opponents. SU entered last weekend at 5-2 for its first ACC game of the season, and boy, it wasn't a walk in the park. Syracuse headed to Charlottesville for a date with Virginia. UVA just came off a win over number 14 Texas A&M, and Tony Bennett, he's 12-3 all-time against Syracuse.
It's pretty good.
With a new bench boss for SU now, could Adrian Autry begin a successful run for the Orange? Well, the first chance was this past Saturday. Let's go down to John Paul Jones Arena, a raucous atmosphere between Syracuse and Virginia. We start things off in the first half. Judah Mintz wanted to go inside, and as did most of the SU team, but even the putback couldn't fall. Mintz finished with 5 points, a season low for him against D1 opponents. Chris Bell, he wanted to get cooking as well, but his shot scratches the front of the rim. UVA turns good defense into some pretty good offense. That's a two-handed flush from Elijah Gertrude. Now, here's a man you'll hear a lot. Isaac McNeely. He hit this 3 halfway through the first half. He had a season-high 10 points in the Texas A&M game that I mentioned earlier, but then in this one against Syracuse, he dropped 22, over doubling his margin, and was 6 of 8 from downtown. The offense ran through McNeely, especially on that play right there. Leon Bond III dunks it home. Syracuse would trail 37-24 at the half, and McNeely rubbed it in with another 3-ball. As we get to the second half, how about this? Andrew Rohde from downtown. He connected 2 for 4 from deep. J.J. Starling, the real only bright spot for Syracuse in this game. He had 16 points as SU's leading scorer. But, man, that was the only bright spot because UVA, even after a miss and the ball pinballs around on the floor, Virginia kicked it out to McNeely. Bang. 57% shooting effort downtown from Virginia in an 84-62 win over the Cuse. It was a tough battle for Syracuse over in Charlottesville. And as you can see here, Ben, it hasn't been a great run of things for the Orange against Virginia. You know, Tony Bennett's now 13-3 all time against SU.
Yeah, and the pack line defense, that's what Tony Bennett's known for. Virginia has always had a spectacular defensive unit, and they showed out against Syracuse this past weekend and have continued to show out every time Tony Bennett goes up against the Orange. So, in the first conference game of the season, SU fell by 22 points. It was ugly. So ugly that Syracuse hasn't lost by 20 points or more in a conference opener since, get this, 1996. That was a while ago. So, how do the Orange respond? Turn the page, forget the past. Well, SU return home to take on Cornell on Tuesday. We go to the Dome. SU returns home, Ivy League versus ACC. It's a matchup for New York. Cornell, sneaky good. Just one loss entering this game, and Cornell started off hot. DJ Nix with this corner three-pointer. The Big Red up 5-1, nearly 4 minutes into the first half. Judah Mintz responded. This feed from Justin Taylor to Mintz in the corner. Mintz knocks down the tray. Remember Judah Mintz's name. We'll get back to him later. Nazir Williams, though, turned defense into offense. Cornell forced 12 turnovers, and Williams was off and running, going coast to coast. Too much space in the lane, lays it up with the left hand off the glass and in. Cornell is down by 3 midway through the first half. Justin Taylor responded with a trifecta himself. 15 points in this one. Taylor was one of 3 SU players to finish in double figures, but Cornell responded. Keller Boothby with this 3. The Big Red went on an 11-1 run to finish the half. Syracuse up by just 3 points, but SU started the second half hot. Chris Bell, this three-pointer extended the lead to 8 points for SU early in the second half. Then good ball movement led to another Judah Mintz trifecta. Mintz finished the game with 28 points, a career high 5 three-pointers, and look at him. He is fired up. But Keller Boothby, once again with this tray. Cornell trails by 8 points late in the second half. Then with 6 minutes to go, Isaiah Gray steals it and yams it on top of Kyle Cuff. Oh my goodness, put the Kansas transfer on a poster. Isaiah Gray. Cornell down by just 3, but Starling put matters in his own hands. 2 minutes left. That mid-range jumper extends the lead to 5, and then Quadir Copeland puts the icing on the cake with this two-handed jam. Syracuse leads 81-70, and Joe Puccio was in the Dome to break it all down.
The college three-point line is 22 feet, an inch, and 3/4 away from the hoop. But in today's game between Syracuse and Cornell, the three-point line was the difference in SU's 81-70 win. The Orange made a season-high 13 shots from deep. Syracuse head coach Adrian Autry said that the guys camping out from behind this arc were made for a day like this.
When you limit players and you have them thinking out there about what's a good shot, what's a bad shot, they wind up turning it over. They don't take any shots. But we work on it. We work on it in practice. They shoot. You know, I tell them what's a good shot, what's not a good shot.
I think it helps guys like me and CB just to have that confidence instilled from us, from the coaches. And obviously there is bad shots, like you said, but for the most part, coach wants us shooting the ball with confidence, being aggressive no matter what, no matter how many we miss. Just forgetting about that and shooting the next one with confidence.
You talk about the 32 shots. We had the right guys shooting them. So if the right guys are shooting them, then I'm okay with that. Chris Bell, 5 for 10. Judah was hot today, 5 for 7. Justin Taylor, 3 for 8. So we'll take those.
The Orange improved to 6-3 on the season and are a perfect 5-0 in the JMA Wireless Dome. The Orange won't play here again until December 21st. SU starts a road trip this weekend against Georgetown. The 97th meeting between the Orange and Hoyas tips off at 11:30 a.m. this Saturday in our nation's capital. Until then, reporting in Syracuse, Joe Puccio, CitrusTV.
Syracuse back in the win column, 6-3. All right, break time here on the Bench. We've got a lot in store. On the other side, we're talking about SU women's hoops. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
We're back talking more hoops here on the Bench. Joe Puccio and Ben Spector in the Citrus TV studio. I found time to change my shirt and get a new tie for this segment. I was just over there in the dome, and now all of a sudden I'm back here.
That's true. And you love basketball, too. We're going to talk more about that.
I do. Magic of TV. Hey, last week was the ACC-SEC Challenge in college basketball. And on Thursday, Syracuse women's hoops had its Southern Showdown against Alabama. The Orange entered this contest with just one loss on the road against Maryland, who was an NCAA tournament team last year. And SU went a perfect 2-0 in Las Vegas's South Point shootout. Both SU and Bama were bubble teams entering Thursday's game. But could the Orange roll the tide? Let's go inside the dome. Last Thursday between Syracuse and Bama. Both teams with just one loss on the season. And you can see why Alabama only has one loss to start. Sarah Ashley Barker, one of 2 3-pointers on the night. Alabama got out to an early 5-0 lead. Deasia Fair, she wanted to have an answer to that one, and she got it. Her first 3-pointer of the night, and she would end up scoring 4 of these in the first half. Syracuse and Deasia Fair had 4 3-pointers in the first half and 4 in the entire game for Fair. Aliyah Nye for Alabama answered right back. She made 5 3-pointers on the night. Syracuse 35-29 lead at the break. Sarah Ashley Barker hits from outside once again. She led the Alabama Crimson Tide with 18 points. And speaking of the Tide, they're cooking a little bit. Carly Weathers, her sister is actually Ryan Weathers in Major League Baseball. She hits the 3, and Alabama is cutting into Syracuse's lead. Now it's a 2-point game with under 2 minutes to go. But Syracuse, as Ben Spector mentioned earlier, they have an ACC Freshman of the Week, and Alyssa Latham proved why. The hurt, the harm, and the bucket. Syracuse closed out the game with 9 free throws. SU would go 14 of 17 from the charity stripe in this game to take down Alabama 79-73 in the first ACC-SEC Challenge. And Ben, you look at the screen here, Syracuse had the advantage against Alabama in pretty much every statistical category.
Well, you look at the rebounding numbers, that's what you want to point out. SU nearly doubled Syracuse, or Alabama, I should say, the rebounding total. But if you're a Syracuse fan, one thing to be slightly concerned about, the turnover number. SU, 24 turnovers. Not a winning formula all the time, but a winning formula against Alabama. So Syracuse with a close win against a team in Alabama that had just one loss entering that matchup. It was a victory over a very good side in the Power 5, but the Cuse is put in a position to build on that performance. Maybe limit those turnovers I was just talking about. This time, not against the team in the Power 5, no, but the CAA, Northeastern. Back to the Dome we go. SU was home cooking against Northeastern. How does Syracuse build on the win against the Tide? Well, the Huskies were the team that came out hot. And it's Northeastern's leading scorer, Darren Erdogan. She's one of 2 Husky players entering this contest, averaging double figures. She averages about 12 points per game, and she had a quick 8 points in the first quarter with those 2 threes. Northeastern up by 6 midway through the first quarter. Northeastern had a lead of up to 7 points at one point, but Elena Rice was not going to let that happen. Her mid-range jumper cuts the deficit to 1, and then ultimately Sophie Burrows with this trifecta. 9 points in this game, 32-27, your halftime score in favor of Syracuse. Burrows' 9 points all came from beyond the arc. So Burrows was getting involved, but here's another Australian, Georgia Woolley, with the mid-range jumper. She was firing on all cylinders offensively. It was Woolley and Burrows. Look at this 3 from Sophie Burrows, the freshman from the corner. Woolley finished with 17 and 2 steals in the fourth quarter, as you see on your screen there. Syracuse ran away with it in the final frame. Woolley with the layup, 17 points that led SU. Burrows with 9, and Woolley found her teammate Deasia Fair. She finished with 14 points. 12 of her tallies came in the second half. Deasia Fair, SU's leading scorer, was off and running. So was Syracuse. And to break it all down in the Dome was our Citrus TV women's basketball beat reporter, Carson Fowler.
Monday night against Northeastern, Syracuse led by just 5 points at the break. But it was a tale of 2 halves. Syracuse outscored Northeastern by 17 in the second half to pick up a 79-57 win over the Huskies. Coach Jack said going into the locker room, lack of energy and effort in the first half. She just had to get her players going into the second half.
I just think some of that energy that we didn't have in the first half belonged to me. And as a head coach, you got to own it, and I owned it in front of them. And I challenged them in the second half. I challenged myself and my staff, and we came out and responded well.
I think coming out of halftime, we all came together and we really this isn't what we do. So our energy was kind of weird. We talked about that, and we just came out there, and I thought we brought that energy defensively.
It's all about team. It's all about us. It's not about another person's opinion of us. we're going to write our own story. As I said last time, we're coming.
Syracuse improves to 7-1 this season behind a 79-57 win over the Northeastern Huskies. Coach Jack and company returns to familiar territory in the MAC Conference to take on the Ohio Bobcats on Saturday at 1. For CitrusTV, I'm Carson Fowler.
SU with a big home stand, but then it goes back on the road at Ohio, back home against Cornell and St. Francis, then it goes up against the ACC. First number 14 Notre Dame on New Year's Eve, and then number 24 North Carolina. So SU has 3 more non-conference games on the schedule, and for more on SU women's basketball, we go to Joe Puccio, who's with our CitrusTV women's basketball beat reporter, Carson Fowler.
Hey, Ben. So we're over here at the wall talking some SU women's basketball with our man Carson Fowler. So now, SU is 7-1 to start this season. Filling through these 8 games as the women's basketball expert here at CitrusTV, have the Orange met expectations to start this season?
Joe, I think you could say this is a team that's exceeded expectations. Syracuse came into the season preseason ranked 9th in the ACC. Not a lot of expectations for this team, but 7-1 speaks for itself. Almost 3 Power 5 wins. They were a possession away from beating Maryland on the road, who at the time was ranked 20th in the country. They got wins against Iowa State and Alabama. That's going to be a potential tournament team. They're on the last 4 in for Charlie Cream's bracketology at this point. Not to mention, the team's seen a lot of adversity already. No Coach Jack towards the end of the summertime in practice. Dominique Camp out with an injury after an exhibition game for St. Rose. No Georgia Woolley for the first 3 games. Despite the loss of Dariana Lewis, Tisha Hyman, Alyssa Latham, freshman ACC of the week, filling in the gaps that SU needed last season. A lot of good things going for Syracuse in 2023 and 2024.
So it seems like the Orange are plugging in those holes and playing well to start this season. And let's look at the 3 games against the Power 5 opponents that Syracuse has played. You mentioned that loss to Maryland, but wins against Iowa State and Alabama. What do those 3 games mean for the Orange moving forward?
Well, Joe, things that have gone well for the Syracuse Orange: offense, averaging 80 points per game in those 3 games, but defense has been a struggle again like it was last season, giving up 75 points per game to Power 5 teams so far. SU finished second to last in the ACC in defensive efficiency, also finished very low in rebounds. They've gotten a little bit better in that category, but not very much, but you'll take the good with the bad, right? Syracuse extremely competitive in these games, and like I said before, 1 possession away from being undefeated, and who knows, maybe even ranked to this point. All of these things are going to help SU in a gauntlet of an ACC schedule against teams like Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, North Carolina. They got back-to-back ranked games in the end of December going into January, so long season ahead for Syracuse, but good things ahead.
Carson Fowler, smooth as silk. You can follow him on Twitter at Carson Fowler TV for all your SU women's basketball coverage. We'll step aside for just a moment, but when we come back, we have a very special guest. Our men's soccer beat reporter Adam Gotkin sits down with head coach Ian McIntyre to talk about this Syracuse men's soccer season. You won't want to miss this one on the bench.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be?
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
We're back on the bench. He's Joe Puccio. I'm Ben Spector. Look, we've talked a lot of basketball thus far, and I love hoops, but it's time to switch gears. Joe, you a soccer fan? You like some soccer?
Of course I do, especially Syracuse soccer.
So do I.
Oh, wow.
Look at us.
So much in common.
Well, the SU men's soccer season is over. The Cuse fell to New Hampshire in the NCAA tournament, but even so, CitrusTV men's soccer beat reporter Adam Gotkin sat down with Ian McIntyre, the head man for SU men's soccer, for an exclusive interview to reflect on the season.
Joe and Ben, thank you so much. I'm joined here by
Coach Ian McIntyre in our studios. And Coach, first off, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So I want to start things off just talking about this season in a whole. It's a historic one for you guys coming off of a national championship. Just in 10 years, looking back, how special is this season?
I thought we had a good year. You follow up a national championship, you're looking to ensure that you have a good season, you've got a competitive team out there. And I think, with the number of players that we lost, I really think that I'm very proud of the work that the guys put in, and ACC semi-final, second round of the national tournament. I'm proud of the guys.
And I don't want to spend too much time on this game, but the last time you guys played, an unfortunate loss to New Hampshire. Have you had the chance to watch that game back, and was there anything kind of specific that you noticed?
I'll be honest, I've never watched the last game of any season. Now, that's probably a little bit limited on my part, but it's you kind of move on to the next one. Look, now in today's, you get a lot of highlights and things that guys share with you. Look, we knew the challenge we were going to have against a wonderful New Hampshire team on the road, and tough conditions, but the guys really worked hard.
So with that team, the national championship team coming into this year, it is a historic group, a historic graduating class. What is this, 2023 class, also the transfers come in, what do they mean to you? Buster and just all of these guys who have been in the program for a while and did historic things. A very strong group, obviously, on and off the field. And look, we also said after this last 12 months, what we've enjoyed together, we've been on some fun bus trips. We've been to the state capitol, we've been to the White House. We took this group to England. We competed at a very high level. Some of the big moments at the SU soccer stadium, big results on the road. But it's also those memories away from the field with guys like that you're talking about. Those guys really helped our new guys coming through as well. So this last calendar year has been very special for our program, for our coaching staff, and for our kind of extended soccer family. Look, this has been a really kind of surreal last couple of years. It's been a lot of fun. We've set the standard and the bar pretty high, and I think it's an exciting time for our Syracuse soccer program. All right, well, Coach, thank you very, very much for taking the time today. And Joe and Ben, I'll send things right back to you.
Adam, thank you so much. Something Ian McIntyre said, he never watches the last game of the season. He has to have watched the national championship game, right?
It's the same thought I had in my head, right? Like, I'd want to watch that Indiana game
so would
back. I watched it in my free time.
If he didn't watch it, you're missing a great game, Coach, I must say. But look, we're headed to another break here on the bench, but I promise you, it's about to get even more fun. Hockey time on the hill. We'll talk a whole lot of puck. Stay with us.
Hey, Bubba, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
We are rolling on the bench in our final show of the semester. He's Ben, I'm Joe, you know us by now. Ben, what's the best game you can name?
Easy. The good old hockey game.
That's why you're my guy,
There
dude.
you go.
Syracuse Ice Hockey hosted the Thruway Battle. I was really hoping you got that one.
There you go.
Hosted the Thruway Battle with RIT on Friday. The Western New York Tigers entered last Friday's matchup third in the CHA. As for the Central New York Orange, SU was last in the conference without a win in CHA play. Coming off a sweep against number 5 Clarkson, Syracuse hoped to rewrite the results tab beginning on Friday against RIT. To the Tennessee Ice Pavilion between two squads from New York. In the first period, a face-off just to the right of Allie Kelly, and oh look, Lindsay Maloney's hands sent the puck right through her legs. SU goes on the power play, and the Orange take advantage. Kate Holmes scores her 5th goal of the season. She now ties a team high. 1-0 Orange after the first, but after that it was all RIT. Chloe McNeil scores to tie the game up at 1 in the second. Now in the second period, take a look at the blue line here. Boom! Charlotte Hallett just knocks out an RIT player right at the blue line. The Tigers go on the power play against the best penalty kill unit in the CHA, but it doesn't matter. Kylie Aquaro scores the go-ahead goal to make it 2-1 RIT, and in the third period, SU had no answers. A 4-1 win for RIT, but the two teams, well, one of them packed up their hotel room, the others packed up their dorm rooms, hit I-90, and headed to Henrietta to match up in Game 2. You know, I'm from Henrietta, and I really wanted to have my birthday party here at the ice rink, and I never got it. I guess I blame my parents. Sorry, Mom and Dad. Darcy Johal scores the first goal of this one, however. She has 2 goals in 2 games to make it 1-0 SU. Oh yeah, sorry, I meant 3 goals in 2 games because Johal scored again just 2 minutes later. It's 2-0 SU at the first intermission. In the second period, Sarah Thompson nets her 5th goal of the season, a cross-crease feed to make it 3-0 Orange. They're on the precipice of their first conference win. RIT, though, said, wait a second. Mia T. Lamas scores the first goal of the game for RIT. Chloe McNeil wants a second one on the left post, and Allie Kelly says, no way, puts her left hand on top of the ice. SU wins this one 3-1. First conference win for the Orange since last January.
So, SU women's ice hockey broke the 12-game winless streak. The Orange got it done, but just a few days later, it had an extremely tough test. Number 4 Colgate. Now, the Raiders entered this matchup on an 11-game win streak. So how did the Cuse fare? Back to the Tennessee Ice Pavilion we go. New York is on the line. Upstate New York, Central New York, whatever you want to call it. Colgate and Syracuse. Allie Kelly on your screen there. She finished with 43 saves, but she also faced a gauntlet of shots. The first one right there from Madeline Palumbo nearly 3 minutes into this game. 1-0 Colgate. That's her 2nd goal of the season. Then you're going to get used to this name. Nina Brick with a great shot and score 6 minutes into the first period. Colgate was off and running. Later in the first period, Avery Pickering with the goal, her 3rd goal of the season, first since October 13th. We're still in the first period, not even 10 minutes in, and Nina Brick with another goal. 4-0 Colgate. Syracuse can't even catch its breath. Nina Brick all over the place. This is her hat-trick goal. She had 5 points on the day. That's the first time she's hit that tally in her entire career. Brick would finish with 4 goals, but here's Dara Gregg with another score late in the second period, her first since November 11th. It was the Nina Brick show. Her 2nd 4-goal game this season. Unbelievable stuff from Colgate. Syracuse just had no answer, and it's a big testament as to what Colgate can do offensively.
That's right, Ben, and if you look at the screen here, it's been tough sledding for the Orange against some of the best teams in the nation. Against Cornell back in October, a 7-0 loss. And look at the shots. 41 for the Big Red. Now, you look at the Clarkson game, that was the game right before the RIT series. 5-0 win for the Golden Knights against 47 shots. And then just yesterday, 65 shots from the Raiders as Colgate took advantage 9-0. SU has been shut out by every top 10 opponent it's faced this season. Ben, you got someone over there at the wall?
I do. I got a very special friend. I got Andrew Della Piana, CitrusTV's women's ice hockey beat reporter. Andrew, how you doing?
I'm good, Ben. How are you?
Thank you so much for asking. I'm doing fantastic. Look, Brittany Smith's going on a Christmas vacation. So is SU women's ice hockey. The first half of the season, though, Andrew, has been a real struggle. 4-14-2 is the record. SU was winless in 12 games entering the Sunday matchup against RIT. What's contributed to all these struggles in the first half of the year?
Well, Ben, it stems from the point that Syracuse has not played a full 60 minutes this season. A lot of lackluster play in the back half of games, and that's because the third period specifically outscored 33-12 in the final 20 minutes this season. They've allowed 4 or more goals in 14 games this season. 12 of them they've lost, and the other 2 they've tied. against Lindenwood and Boston University. Good news, though, special teams. Massive point for this team. Been the saving grace. 21st in the country in penalty kill at 82%. And then power plays. You talked about it. 12 goals. Third best in the CHA. And they held Colgate, a team we just saw, to 0 goals on the power play. A team that has 24 entering last night's contest. But they had a goose egg on the special teams unit.
So, you know what they say. You got to play a full 60 minutes in order to win a game. The third period has really been a struggle for SU. So, look. January 1st comes. It's a new year, new slate, some New Year's resolutions being made. Maybe you're making some New Year's resolutions. I still have to think of mine. We're in the middle of the holiday season. What's the bright spots that this team can take into 2024?
Frankly, it's stick to the play of Allie Kelly, who's been simply too good. She's had 56 saves in the SU home opener. You think, how could she get any better? That's with 12 games of 30-plus stops this season. Brittany Smith said in the offseason that she needed a goaltender with experience, and she went right in the portal and found that in the St. H transfer. She's poised the net. She challenges shooters at the top of her crease. She is currently 7th on Syracuse's single-season saves record list. She has north of 600 through 19 games, and currently she's on pace to break that mark, Ben, and she's got a lot of hockey left to play. They need to rely on her if they want to get some wins in conference play.
Allie Kelly has had 2 games with at least 40 saves, one with 56 against Merrimack. She's truly a rock star. Follow Andrew at Deli, DELLIE_5 on X for all your coverage regarding SU women's ice hockey. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us and taking the time.
Thank you, Ben.
All right, go into another break here on the bench, but we've got our teams of the semester. Joe and I got you covered after this.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, your plumber,
breathe right into your foot,
your plumber's masseuse,
yes,
you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's have some more fun on the bench. Joe Puccio and Ben Spector with you in the CitrusTV studio. Ben, we've discussed how this is the last episode of the semester. So, you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's Tots time.
Oh!
Teams of the semester.
I thought you were going to say tater tots, but I also like tater tots. I like tater tots. I like teams of the semester.
Maybe we'll have that.
Maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, we'll have that for dinner tonight. Look, the votes have been counted. They've been casted. The election office, and we have our 3 teams of the semester. So first up, we have Syracuse women's basketball. Now, the reason why they're one of the teams of the semester is because of 2 names in particular. DH Affair, she's 2nd in the country with 20 points per game, and her sidekick, in years past, it's been Georgia Woolley, maybe Elena Rice, but this year, it really is Alyssa Latham, the ACC Freshman of the Week. She has 3 double-doubles on the season. You pair that with the Brazilian center, Isabel Varejao. SU is 7-1 overall, and as we've talked about earlier, SU is receiving votes in the AP poll. 7-1 in December, Ben, and that is some entertaining stuff from SU Women's Hoops.
It's only December.
I know. It's crazy.
The days could be even brighter. There could be more tater tots in store for women's basketball. All right. We move on to team number 2. I got the votes in my ear over here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. Someone's talking to me. It's SU men's soccer as our second team of the semester. Look, this was a men's soccer team that won a national championship a year ago. Lots of pressure. Levante Johnson, Russell Shealy, they leave the program. Syracuse goes on 9-5-7, 2-5-1 in the conference. Okay, that's not ideal, but it's what they did in postseason play. They still ranked top 25 all season, but what did they do in postseason play? ACC semifinals appearance, beat UVA in PKs in the quarterfinals, lost to North Carolina 3-1 in the semifinals, made it to the NCAA tournament, beat Boston University in the first game of that tournament. Nicholas Kalukian, Lorenzo Baselli, 6 goals, and get this, Giorgio Krzyzewski led the team with 12 assists. Winning a game in the NCAA tournament is something to be happy about.
And, the Orange obviously winning the national championship last year.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, can they make it back this year?
Well, the bar is set high.
Yeah, you're not going to win the title game every single year.
It is the best feat in sports, by the way, to defend your title and go back to back.
That's right. And they decorated that whole alumni corner at SU Soccer Stadium.
True.
Looks beautiful now. All right, our final team of the semester, our final tot, is Syracuse field hockey. Now listen, you look at the overall record and you say 11-8. Here's the thing. SU was number 11 in the nation and lost to Duke in the NCAA quarterfinals 2-1. Lynn Farquhar becomes the first coach in program history to guide SU to the NCAA tournament and quarterfinals in her first season as the head coach. Syracuse is the only ACC team to make the last 3 NCAA quarterfinals, and SU's made 14 of the last 16 tournaments in the past 14 of the last 16 NCAA tournaments. That's what I meant to say. But now SU, they're losing Charlotte DeVries and Yvke van den Nieuwenhof, so it could be a turn of the tide for SU coming up soon.
It's impressive for Farquhar to lead a unit so far in her first season. To do something like that in your first year as the head coach, that's something to hang your head on.
So we've just talked about the teams, but coming up after this quick break, we're doing the individuals. The performers of the semester are coming up right after this.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to my house. Everybody's pretty tired of each other. The walls were closing in. Clearly a case of too much family, too close, 24/7. If this sounds like your house, try going someplace new. YourLifeYourVoice.org. You'll find lots of ideas to help you handle the family stresses of being confined to close quarters. YourLifeYourVoice.org. It could help you find a little more breathing room.
And we're back inside the CitrusTV studio for On the Bench, an hour-long version of On the Bench to wrap up this semester. Joe Puccio and Ben Spector here. Ben, we just had Tots time, the teams of the semester.
I wonder what time it is now.
It's Pots time! Performers of the semester starts right now. We've got 10 players. Oh, it's looking nice and beautiful on the screen from our producers.
There's silhouettes for now.
10 players that we will then reveal as our performers of the semester. And our first, we go over to Syracuse ice hockey, and it's none other than Kate Holmes. The grad student is tied 7th in the CHA with 14 points. Listen, folks, she transferred from Northeastern this past year, and she leads Syracuse in points. SU ice hockey is last in the conference, but Holmes is the weapon to get Syracuse out of the basement.
Kate Holmes, number 10 on our list of performers of the semester. So we go from the ice to the gridiron because we got to talk about the quarterback. We got to talk about Garrett Schrader. He's led the charge for most of this season. Over 1,600 yards through the air, 13 touchdowns, nearly 500 yards on the ground, 8 touchdowns. But here's what I want to point out. This Purdue game was unbelievable that you see on your screen. 195 yards on the ground, 4 touchdowns. He rallied back later in the season. He missed some time due to injury after the Virginia Tech game, but Schrader came back and he was a warrior. Willed SU to a bowl game, and after the game against Wake Forest in the final contest of the regular season, he was so emotional because this team just means so much to him, and he really showed out towards the final stretch.
His final game against Syracuse will be December 21st when Syracuse takes on South Florida in the Boca Raton Bowl. Let's keep things moving here. Our next performer of the semester, folks, you know her. She plays women's basketball. Her name's Deaisha Fair. Double digits in 7 of the 8 games played this season from Deaisha Fair. She wears number 2 for the Orange, and she's 4th in the ACC with 18 points per game. Look, Syracuse is 7-1 to start the season. We've talked about Alyssa Latham, we've talked about Isabel Varejao, but Deaisha Fair has been the constant, steady force over the last 2 seasons. Deaisha is truly an unfair advantage for Syracuse.
Deaisha Fair is spectacular. She has a great first step. She just makes the defense go towards her and creates so much space for her teammates. But we're going to go back to SU women's ice hockey We're going to go to the goalie for this performer of the semester. Andrew talked about her earlier in the show. Allie Kelly, she is a staple on the back end. She transferred in from St. Anselm. She's a grad transfer. She's played against D2 and D1 schools, 12 games with 30 saves or more, 2 with 40 plus, and 1 with 50 stops or more. She is a pillar on the back end for this defense. They rely on her a lot, and SU would be doing a whole lot worse if Allie Kelly was not playing every night.
You know, that's actually similar to our next performer of the semester. SU ice hockey at the bottom of the CHA. Syracuse women's soccer was at the bottom of the ACC for most of the season. But one reason why you turned on the television was because of Shea Vanderbosch, our next performer of the semester, number 6 on our list. The sophomore goalie from Lancaster, New York. Shout out the Legends over there in Buffalo. Vanderbosch made 129 saves this season. That led the ACC, and no other goalie in the conference had triple-digit saves. Once again, she topped the ACC with 7 saves a game. And the team, again, finished at the bottom of the conference, but Shea Vanderbosch kept Syracuse in most of these games, and she should be a fun watch for not just next season, but the year after that when she has her senior campaign.
Vanderbosch almost single-handedly beat a top 5 Florida State team midway through the season. The Seminoles won off a goal with about 10 minutes left in that game, but Shea Vanderbosch kept the orange in it. We're staying on the pitch. We're going from the women's side to the men's side. Nicholas Kalukian gets this performer of the semester honor. Look, Kalukian was at Michigan. He was an all Big Ten freshman honoree. Transfers over to SU, and last year in the Big Ten, he had 4 goals and 1 assist. So what does he do this year? He ties Lorenzo Baselli with 6 tallies, leads the team. 3 assists. Look, this offense would be nowhere without Kalukian, and he continued to step up. Levante Johnson left. Where was the scoring going to come from? Well, it came from Nicholas Kalukian. The forward was firing on all cylinders for SU all fall.
We should have, on this little graphic here, we should have put like a little championship ring, right? I think it's, is it the right hand or the left?
Well, he wasn't on the team.
No, so he wouldn't get one,
He wouldn't get one. He had to earn it.
Yeah, he'd have to earn that title. He still wears the star on his shirt, nonetheless. All right, let's move on here to our 4th performer of the semester as we move on to Syracuse field hockey. P.K. Van de Pas gets the honor. The grad student was 2nd on Syracuse this season with 31 points. Give her a 2023 All-ACC first team selection. She finished the season on a 3-game point streak, including that go-ahead goal in the loss against Duke. As you look on the screen there, all the season totals, 31 points, 39 shots, efficient there on the field for Syracuse field hockey. She will be a presence that SU misses next season.
So we're going to go from the outdoors to the indoors for some SU men's hoops. It's about time we talk about the guard, Judah Mintz. He leads SU in scoring with about 20 points per game, and look, what he did against LSU was spectacular. Look at this poster slam over Mawani Wilkinson. Count it and the foul. Look at that face. Look at that smirk. That was filthy from the sophomore. Look, Judah Mintz has been on fire. He scored 28 points in the win against Cornell, a career-high 5 3-pointers. Judah Mintz is great offensively for Syracuse, and SU just looks different when he's on the floor.
It's only fitting that Judah Mintz is the 3rd performer of the semester. Anywhere is number 3.
That's
for
true.
Syracuse football. Let's move on to number 2. Now, this man doesn't wear number 2. But he wears number 1 for Syracuse football. It's LeQuint Allen. The sophomore running back had his first 1,000-yard rushing season after taking over from one of the best running backs in Syracuse history, Sean Tucker. And even that moniker is a high bar to clear with legends like Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, and Floyd Little. 3rd in the ACC this season with 1,062 rush yards, tied for 6th in the ACC with 9 rushing touchdowns. Now, I don't know this for certain, but there are reports out there saying that Fran Brown and LeQuint Allen have been in talks about what to do next season, so
SU fans might want LeQuint
no transfer portal for LeQuint?
They might want him back.
Who knows?
With the program. All right, one final performer of the semester. We're going back to field hockey. Aefke van den Nieuwenhof. Look, she is just the most complete player you'll see. All ACC, first team, ACC Defensive Player of the Year. So she's great on the back end, right? Well, she also led the team with 14 goals. So she's great offensively. She's great defensively. She also has 4 helpers to add on to that stat line. Look, Aefke van den Nieuwenhof was really good this season, and that's why she's our final and number 1 performer of the semester.
You know, Van den Nieuwenhof, Van de Pas, those are 2 big-time names that Syracuse will have to fill next season. And luckily for the Cuse, they're a top 15 program, so those names should be filing right along.
That's exactly right. All right, One more break here on the bench. Top plays, not top plays. We got both of them after these few messages.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
We're back on the bench here in our CitrusTV studio. Joe Puccio, Ben Spector here with our top plays and not top plays. Look, a lot of high moments, a lot of low moments. We're here to break them all down from the semester. Joe, number 10. We got to start with our number 10 top play. What do you got?
And we go to Syracuse men's soccer in a matchup back in October 6th. It was a Friday when Syracuse took on North Carolina. Jaheim Wickham dives all the way to his left to make the save. Not only just to make a save, but to save the game. SU would end up winning that contest 1-0 over the Tar Heels.
From the pitch to the hardwood, SU women's hoops, you're about to see some great passing. Deaja Fair drives to her left, lobs it up top to Latham, who lays it in with two hands. Look at this lob from the guard to the freshman, Alyssa Latham, with a double-double. SU takes down Alabama 79-73.
Our number 8 play is back in the world of men's soccer. When SU took on Clemson back on October 15th, look at that! A free kick goal from Buster Schoberg. That is a SU 1-1 tie over Clemson, and that was the only goal for SU in that game. Less is more. Just a nice finesse move into the top left corner for the Orange to equalize with the Tigers.
We head to the gridiron now. Ross-Ade Stadium for SU versus Purdue. Check out this rushing score from Garrett Williams. Do you think he hands it off to LaQuinn Allen? No, he keeps it himself. It's a bootleg play from Schrader, runs to his right, and look, nobody on the Purdue defense even thought Schrader had the ball. What a play call from Jason Beck. SU wins that one 35-20.
Yeah, I didn't even know if anyone in the stadium knew that Schrader had the ball there. Let's stick things with football here. Friday, November 3rd, SU-BC. Justin Barron lays the lumber right across the chest. He picked up the ball himself, too. Did you see what Justin Barron had on his right arm there? He wasn't playing with two hands for most of this season. His left arm's covered in a brace, and he still came up with a forced fumble. SU would lose that game 17-10.
A big hit from Justin Barron. We go to the field hockey team just inside the circle. Pika Vanderpas tomahawks this one into the top right corner. Check this out in slow motion once again. Look at this shot. Oh my goodness. No one was stopping that from Vanderpas. SU goes on to win 4-1.
Number 4 is Syracuse women's soccer's Erin Fleury. When the Orange took on Clemson down in South Carolina. Look at how far out she is for that one. Erin Fleury finds the back of the net. Clemson would win the game 5-1, but that's the goal of the year in both men's and women's soccer, undoubtedly.
You just can't teach that, Joe. What an absolute shot from Erin Fleury. We go to play number 3, Hattie Madden for SU field hockey. Look at this shot. Just inside the shooting circle, tomahawks it to the top left corner. Vanderpas went to the right, Madden went to the left. Look at all the space in front of her, and look at this shot. Oh my goodness, I could watch that all day.
Number 2. We take things to Halloween night with Syracuse field hockey in the ACC tournament. Wilhelmine Bogert slides in and tips it home. Syracuse scored the opening goal in that game. A little bit of the scaries for the Cavaliers, but Virginia would end up winning that game 3-2. But my goodness, just diving around that blue turf down in Charlottesville. Impressive.
For the number 1 play of the semester, we go to the JMA Wireless Dome. Justin Taylor gets the rebound, tosses it to Judah Mintz, and get up there, Judah Mintz. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We need to slow this down and watch this again. He put Mwani Wilkinson on a poster with this right-handed jam. He gets up there. Oh my gosh, I could watch that all day. I seriously can. I get excited about it every single time. All right, those were some of the highlights. Now, unfortunately, we have to go to some of the lowlights. The not top plays of the semester. We got 5 of them. Joe, number 5, let's go.
Let's start in the football world. When Syracuse took on Virginia Tech, I love this music so much. Reminds me of my childhood. Garrett Schrader takes the snap, he rolls back, and, well, he doesn't have anywhere to go. He throws the football out of the back of his own end zone. A safety in the dog days of Syracuse football season. It's funny. We can, even the sound effect. We can look back in time and laugh.
Look at the Virginia Tech fans.
Well, they're really rubbing it in Garrett's face. Huh?
Number 4, we go to the pitch for SU women's soccer versus Wake Forest. Everybody just stops playing. They think there's a penalty. Nobody blew the whistle. Everybody stopped playing, and Wake Forest scores. Vanderbosch had no chance at stopping that, but why did everybody stop? They think there's a penalty. No! 3 players just stopped moving. You got to play to the whistle. And Wake Forest gets the tally, cuts the deficit to 1.
Our third not top play, guess what? We're going back to football. Garrett Schrader against Clemson. He rushes out to his right, fakes the throw, spins back to the middle. Oh, he's got a highlight reel coming. Ready? Boom! Out of nowhere. Clemson with a forced fumble, and honestly, that was the big turning point in Syracuse's season. They dropped their first game that night to Clemson.
SU would go on to have a 5-game losing streak. We're staying with football, though. Happy times for SU in this contest because Syracuse beat Wake Forest, but not happy times in this moment. So the clock's winding down in the first half. Alford makes the reception near the goal line, and then the clock. How are they managing the clock? What's going on here? You don't get into the end zone. The clock's rolling. The clock's rolling. You got to move. Everybody's moving. Get to the line of scrimmage. LaQuinn Allen caught that in bounds. The clock still ticks. 2, 1, and it ran out. Triple zeros after the first 30 minutes of that game. That just can't happen. That's a real low line.
And that was Nunzio Campanelli's only game that he's coached so far this season. But our not top play of the season, Syracuse women's soccer, Miami on the far side, ascended to the corner and, well, went off a Syracuse boot. Syracuse would end up losing that game to Miami. But, I mean, scoring your own goal, what are you going to do? You just start putting your foot out there and it goes in the back of the net. It's a shame.
It's just a bunch of lowlights that we just saw after so many highlights. That's unbelievable. All right, this is the final On the Bench show of the semester. It's also the final On the Bench show under executive producer Ryan Bridges, associate producers AJ Myers, Max Gifford, and Hudson Ridley. The 4 of them put their heart and soul into this show, and I know I could speak for Joe Puccio and myself and everybody who's been on the Bench. We thank them so much for all the hard work they put in and just creating a great working environment.
Yeah, that's right. On the Bench is a show that captures all of the sports on the Hill. It's a very difficult job to do, but those 4 guys, they came in here 3 days a week, every single week, sacrificing their Sundays to come in here to CitrusTV and put the best product on the screen. And how about, producing a live hour-long show to end the semester? That's pretty impressive.
And they've produced live 45-minute shows. They've gone outside the studio. They've been really creative, and I don't want to say this, but I will. They've spent some time here at Citrus TV station. They continue to spend hours on hours on hours cutting video, putting smiles on people's faces.
They can sleep now.
They can sleep.
Yeah.
The show is spectacular. Everybody loves it. We thank them for all the hard work they've put into On the Bench and at Citrus TV. And for now, watch this clip in honor of the 4 of them.
On the Bench with Nick Zelaya. I'm Trey Redfield. Thanks so much for joining us. Nick, it's the first show of the semester.
Show. Don't answer too long if you don't have to. I don't like them.
I think it definitely took about 2 months for everybody to know what they did best. Once we figured that out, and us as a producer team clicked, that's when we have the best shows.
Here's the thing. The important thing was that during that stretch in which the Orange went through a cold spell,
the Orange wouldn't win another game after August 27th, racking up.
It will make it on there.
Brown only played 6 minutes, but the forward was one of 6 players to finish.
Producing's gonna break you. It doesn't seem like that hard on the surface level, but when you do it week after week after week, because it wasn't just these 28 or so shows, it was the 14 shows before that too, with the old production team. And I don't know why I was so worried, because I had a good team behind me, and no matter how much I messed up, like they were gonna get me.
Ice hockey. The Orange took on Robert Morris in a doubleheader over the weekend, and there were goals.
Every single moment I spent with these guys was just the time of my life. And even if it was late nights here cutting video, doing graphics, we're just messing around. Like, it was all fun, and we made it fun.
The new ones are nice. I don't miss the old ones. No one ever asked me, are you focused on the wall For our streetcar regenerant, we'll be joined by Phil Pilati.
The most memorable moments, I think, were the stuff we did outside the studio.
We always had that, ambitious idea of, let's get outside the studio. Let's film something outside.
We had the worst organization maybe ever of trying to do this rowing pre-tape.
Going to the rowing facility is still one of the coolest things ever.
We decided to go to a rowing room, and we actually, for one of the stand-ups, we had Cameron Easier get inside of a rowing machine. And we put it all together, it was just so funny. It was so funny. We always call that our greatest moment of ever doing OTB because of the creativity and how good it looks now. That was one of the few moments where you just forget your producer and you're just having fun at that point. We've made lifelong friends from this, and I don't just say that just to say that. That's a group of friends that I'll never lose.
5. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next season.
3, 2, 1. Roll it, take it.